Hi, and thanks for clicking. We're already over 2 weeks into 2024, so I know I'm a little late to making this kind of video, but the idea came to me just the other day and I had to get it out of my system. Every year has had at least a few great games that release, and last year was no different. We all know the big ones and well talked about ones. Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, Lethal Company, Starfield, blah blah blah. But most of my personal favorites from 2023 were indie games, and games not all that talked about at all. And in this video, I'd like to share them with anybody that might hear my feelings on them. One quick note I'd like to make is that I'm not listing these games in any particular order, like starting with good game and working my way to best game. These just happen to be some of my overall favorites. Anyway, let's get started. First up, I want to talk about Party Animals, starting off this list with a game that had a little bit of a mixed reception on release but has since obtained more positive reviews, and I'll be weighing in with my thoughts on why I think it's still an awesome game. Party Animals is a game about adorable floofy animals punching and yeeting each other, playing team score games, and generally just having a good time in a light, silly, wholesome atmosphere. Lots of different modes and maps, lots of super cute animals to be, and lots of cosmetics to deck yourself out in. On the topic of the cosmetics, that was probably the most contentious part of the game. Yes, we're all tired of endless in-game purchases and rabbit holes of cosmetic collecting, but both of the game's currencies can be earned just by playing the game. There are weekly cookie quests, and it doesn't take too long to rank up for cookies or Nemo bucks either. Also, cosmetics and characters themselves unlock through just leveling, so it really isn't a big deal. By default, you have lots of characters to play as, the currencies are so easily obtainable, and since the gameplay itself is so solid, the option of microtransactions does not take away from the game at all. Sorry, had to get that all out. It makes me mad that some people act like it's a deal-breaker situation. Let me talk about some notable maps in the game. Unfortunately, when playing Quick Match, you only get a random choice of 3 maps per match. You can't manually select your favorite map to queue up for. Well, you can for the private match mode, which is actually more of a game session browser if you choose to allow anyone to join, so I rescind that comment. Anyway, about Quick Match, the maps are selected by majority vote, so you need to hope that the other players want the same map you want, or need, if you're going for the achievements, which also unlock cosmetics, by the way. I love Lollipop Factory, which, to be honest, should be called Gummy Factory, since you're collecting gumdrops and gummy bears. People tend to fight over just the gummy bear, which awards more points than the basic gumdrops, but while the teams are so focused on the bear, you can just pick up all the regular gumdrops and deposit them, and bam, victory. I think Ichiban is super overrated, and it also tends to go on for ages and ages, unless your opponents are just super cracked. Typhoon is kinda fun, gradually sinking submarine. I love Fluffy Redemption. 2 trains are driving alongside each other and you gotta fill yours with coal so you go faster than the enemy train, and you can hop on the other train and pull the brakes at the front to sabotage them. Lots of fun. Usually I do pretty good, but this time around I sucked. That's what happens whenever you start recording. Also, this time my team was idiots. Our own Curtis was pulling the brakes on our own train and the enemy Nemo was pretty cracked, so that sucked. Should have known he was sweaty. He flexed how he had just about every single Nemo costume at the start of the match. Bruh moment. Beast Hockey is pretty fun. You bap the puck into the enemy goal, simple good fun. Somehow our Tuskar was able to move before the first round even started and got a free goal since nobody else could move. Into the game is also sort of fun. You gotta play the arcade machine and collect the falling coins to earn points, but you also have to keep the enemies off the arcade players and off the machines themselves. I have just one gripe about this game, and I can't tell if it's down to the game's physics or just input latency and Wi-Fi, but it feels like every single action you take has input delay. Moving, punching, jumping, everything. But all in all, I found Party Animals to be a lot of fun every time I hopped on it. It's adorable, silly, wholesome, and an absolute joy to play. The next game I wanted to talk about is Full Moon Rush, a fast-paced boss rush bullet hell starring a werewolf as the protagonist. You've got a dash move and 3 different weapons, an electric spread shot with projectiles that get bigger and stronger the farther they travel, an acid blob shot that doesn't fire fast or travel far but does hefty damage, and a rapid full-auto homing shot that does average damage. Last I was on before making this video there were 10 bosses to fight, but as you can see there are now 15, and each with their own unique design and attacks that get more complex the longer the fight goes on. I love games with this sort of sprite work and fast-paced combat. It's timeless, action-packed fun. There also aren't nearly enough games that have werewolf protagonists, and I sure as heck don't know any other bullet hells with that exact thing going on. It's very unique, and I'm all for it. I need more werewolf games in my library. I'm not particularly good at this one so far, but I have the patience to learn these attack patterns and master each fight. I pride myself a little bit on being good at other challenging retro games like Mega Man, Castlevania, and Contra, so I feel right at home with Full Moon Rush. Not quite as much to say about this game as I had for Party Animals. Admittedly, I hadn't played too much of it yet. It's been sitting in my backlog while I've found myself doing other things, but I love what I've played of it so far, and I'm looking forward to continuing sometime soon. And now for my absolute favorite game released in 2023. Yes, I said I wasn't going in any particular order, but I did have to save the best for last, Cobalt Core. I absolutely adore this game, and I can't get enough. I had it wishlisted since 2023's first Next Fest event on Steam, and I got it pretty quickly at launch. I was so excited to play this, and I was not disappointed. Cobalt Core is a roguelike deck-building strategy game, and I love all of those genres on their own, so throwing them all together into one package sounded like so much fun, and I was not wrong. Each run of the game starts with you selecting 3 party members for your crew, and also choosing your ship. Each member of the crew has a different deck of cards with different styles of gameplay, and your ship decides your health, hitbox, and available armaments, as well as additional cards. In the beginning, you'll only have 3 party members and 1 ship to select from, but 1, there are several more of each to unlock, 2, the ones you start with are perfect for learning the ropes with, and 3, they're all very lovable characters and have great personalities shown in little intermission cutscenes, as well as in general combat. They speak as you use their cards, land hits, endure hits, dodge out of the way, etc. Each of the crew is charming in their own way. My absolute favorite character is Isaac. He makes drones you can use to shoot the enemy or shield yourself, among other things, and he names his drones. It's adorable. He says things like, "Is it mean to name a drone Stinky?" and "This drone's plating is all wonky, I'm calling him Lumpy." And he gets sad if his drones get destroyed, saying things like, "Iggy, no!" and "Number 1 couldn't handle the pressure, sorry." The general gameplay loop involves traveling along the map, running into battles, which I'll explain in a moment, collecting more cards for your deck, visiting the shipyard for repairs and upgrades, other random events, and fighting a boss at the end of each of the 3 areas. The plot in this game is really interesting and enjoyable, and I don't want to spoil too much of it, but in essence, the world is stuck in a time loop, and we're trying to break it. At the end of each run, you fight the Cobalt, and if you win, you get to see flashbacks of things that happened before the time loop began. I'm pretty far in myself, and I'm excited to see how the story concludes. I find the combat in this game to be really engaging and replayable. It's turn-based combat with the deck of cards you collect from battles and receive from your crew. You play cards to attack, shield up, dodge away from attacks, and other things. Dizzy's deck in particular is really good. His shielding is very helpful for enduring attacks you can't otherwise get away from. I tend to upgrade his block shot card as soon as I can. It fires 1 damage and gives you temporary shield. I find it invaluable for playing War of Attrition. The game also has artifacts you can get from defeated bosses and map nodes, and these give you passive upgrades that remain for the duration of the run. One of my favorite artifacts is Rig's Demon Thrusters. They give you 1 evade every single turn. They make it so you can only have a max of 3 evade at a time, but that's a huge plus anyway, because now you wouldn't need to spend your energy on evade cards nearly as much, or even at all if you play things smart. My favorite ship is the Ares. It's fairly small and has 2 cannons. By default, you use its special card to toggle which cannon is active, and the inactive cannon gets armor, which makes it take 1 less damage from all attacks. But if you collect the artifact Ares Cannon V2, you no longer need to spend the card to toggle your active cannon, you simply right-click it to flip it over. Now its main trait, upon clicking it, makes both of your cannons active at once, and each cannon performs your card's actions, effectively letting you deal double damage. It gets kinda crazy. Anyway, I think I've talked about the game enough. I understand it might not be for everyone, some people might find it too slow, but I love games that make me think about my actions and reward me for using my brain. Cobalt Core is my favorite game of 2023. Case closed. Did you guys know of these games yourself? Did this video happen to make you interested in them? And what were your favorite games of 2023? Leave a comment and let me know. Thanks so much for watching the video. Please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you another time.